Good evening and welcome to Ukraine Brief here on TVP World. It's been 1,405 days since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I'm Jastrzębska and these are the latest stories. We begin this evening with talks between President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. President Donald Trump over the weekend in Florida. President Trump says an end to the war in Ukraine is, quote, closer than ever. The two leaders discussed a proposed 20-point peace plan. Following 2 hours of talks on Sunday, President Trump suggested that a potential peace deal could be reached within a matter of weeks, with several critical points of disagreement from the Russian leadership still needing to be addressed. While Vladimir Putin has not publicly spoken on the most recent version of the proposed peace plan, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said on X today that President Trump has, quote, concluded a positive call with President Putin concerning Ukraine. It marks the second consecutive call between Trump and Putin since Sunday. Zelensky expressed that Ukraine and the United States were 90% agreed on the peace proposal. However, questions remain over Ukraine's Donbas region, with Russia maintaining its long-standing desire to gain complete control of the territory, either through a Ukrainian withdrawal or by pressing forward with a military offensive. Zelensky, in turn, has proposed creating a free economic zone in the contested territory. Also in the spotlight of the talks were U.S. security guarantees. The U.S. agreed for its part to provide Ukraine security for 15 years, significantly short of the 30 to 50-year guarantees Ukraine had hoped for. Finally, questions remain over Ukraine's reconstruction and control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which Russia has occupied since 2022 and is reportedly considering to use to sell nuclear energy back to Ukraine. Donald Trump reiterated his confidence that a peace deal is closer than ever, speaking with Volodymyr Zelensky at a press conference in Florida after Sunday's talks. The Ukrainian president said much of the framework is now in place.
If you think about it, we're going to have, I really believe we're probably, Mr. President, by far closer than ever before with both parties. We had some times when he was close and President Putin wasn't. Then when President Putin was close and he wasn't, you saw that in the White House. But I think they both want to see it happen. They keep fighting and they keep dying. No good. But if things don't happen, they keep fighting and they keep dying. And we don't want that to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. President Putin doesn't want it to happen either. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
And we discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and U.S. Ukraine security guarantees, 100% agreed. U.S. Europe Ukraine security guarantees, almost agreed. Military dimension, 100% agreed. We also had a joint productive call with European leaders, like President Trump said already, and a lot of leaders, including NATO and EU. And we agreed that our teams will meet in upcoming weeks to finalize all discussed matters. And we agreed with President Trump that he will host us, and maybe in Washington, European leaders and Ukrainian delegation, yes, in January. And Ukraine is ready for peace.
In a new interview with Ukraine's public broadcaster, Suspilne News, Ukrainian intelligence chief Kyrylo Budanov says that even as Russia continues to make gains and even aims to take the entire Donbas region by 2026, the rising cost of the war is starting to put pressure on the Kremlin. He says major losses in oil processing and a 2026 budget that sends nearly half of government spending to the military are driving growing doubts inside Vladimir Putin's inner circle.
Since late spring, Russia has entered a stable economic recession. It's not a collapse yet, but the problems are mounting. Look at Russia's 2026 budget. It would be catastrophic for any country. All its social programs are being cut. The only thing left is defense spending. The decisions already taken are unpopular, painful and difficult. The 2026 budget allocates 46% to war. No country can develop or move forward normally when nearly half of its budget is spent on war. It's simply impossible.
In eastern Ukraine, the battle for control of key towns remains intense as Russian forces continue to make local advances, exploiting poor weather conditions. In Myrnohrad, Ukrainian forces continue to hold most of the city despite Russian attempts to infiltrate. According to the Institute of the Study of War, geolocated footage shows Russian troops advancing in northern Myrnohrad and raising flags, but control of the city has not changed. Ukrainian troops also maintain positions in northern Pokrovsk, in contrast to Russian claims of having seized the city. Pokrovsk has withstood repeated Russian assaults, with Ukrainian forces holding critical northern and western positions. These positions are often intermingled with Russian units, complicating defense operations. Russia has been exploiting poor weather and the urban terrain for infiltration, while using FPV drones and mortars to target logistics. Despite this, Ukrainian forces are continuing to hold position and keep their supply lines open. In Hulaypole, Russia controls roughly 55% of the town, but Ukrainian forces continue defending the remaining sectors. Both sides are conducting information operations, with Russia's sophisticated flag-raising video campaign exaggerating territorial gains. Moscow's claims of full seizure are disputed by Ukrainian sources, and much of Russia's narrative relies on misinformation rather than actual territorial control. And with this we conclude Ukraine Brief tonight. Thank you for watching and please stay tuned for more.